my father, he'll never see his name in lights. Worked hard at desk his whole damn life. Didn't chase his dreams, gave himself so me and my sister to be alright. Sometimes I wonder, they'll say of me when I am gone, when my daughter's living on it. Will she carry strange, thought that I was famous, but just that I was never home. Is it the things you've done, the places that you've been, chasing down some dream you've been imagining? Or is it making peace with who you are and where you stand? I'm trying to find what makes a man. Whoa, oh, what makes a man? If I'm honest, I'm plagued by the fear that I am not enough. Yeah. So I work hard to measure up. I've run 1,000,000 miles, climbed a mountain high, felt the same when I was done. Is it things you've done, places that you've been, but chasing down some dream you've been imagining? Or is it making peace with who you are, where you stand? Oh, I'm trying to find what makes a man. Is it power? Is it fame? Is it money? Is it just a game? Is it always wanting more? Or is it in finding peace in what you had all along? Is it things you've done, places that you've been, chasing down some dream you've been imagining? Or is it making peace with who you are and where you stand? I'm trying to find what makes a man. I've been trying to find what makes a man. I've been trying to find what makes a man. What makes a man? I've been trying to find what makes a man.
you tell, I can't tell from the initials, do we have a? Barbara, we've got a victim. Hmm? From Mattern, did you say? Okay. And my question is, who's JS?
That's the county attorney.
Council, do we have county attorney recommendations yet? I haven't received them, neither did Ms. Martinez.
And Your Honor, this is Jennifer Smith. I apologize for the delay. I did send over at least the first four. I have all of them worked up, but I just need to finish the rest in the background. And again, I apologize to the court.
We have 15. They should have been done before 7 o'clock. And I haven't received the 4, and neither has Ms. Martinez.
I did send one to the JP initial appearances at scpima.gov and to Your Honor's email address. Let me see.
Well, if yours just popped up, mine should pop up too.
Could you also send the recommendations to my email address as well?
No, I don't have yours. I'm sorry.
I could give you the email address.
Yes.
It's Ariana, ARIANA .Adams
ARIA .Adams.
Yes, at Pima.gov.
I don't know what email address you use for me, but it has not come through on my email yet either. But Ms.
The
Martinez,
one I was,
Ms. Martinez forward.
oh, okay.
I received it. Thank you.
All right. Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you are?
I am Tomunas Day.
Mr. Day. I have citations here charging you with 2 counts of domestic violence endangerment, 2 counts of domestic violence disorderly conduct, and 2 counts of domestic violence threats and intimidation. These are alleged to have occurred on or about the 17th day of March. These were originally filed as felonies and have been dismissed and refiled as misdemeanors. Your next court date on these matters is going to be on April the 23rd at 1:30 in the afternoon. In the Tucson City Court. If you are still in custody, you'll be seen on video. If you've posted the bond of $2,500, you must appear in person. You're not to leave the state of Arizona. You're not to commit any acts of domestic violence. You're not to possess any firearms or weapons. Have any contact with Pujarni or Stoodto. You're not to return to the residence except once with law enforcement to obtain your personal belongings. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And I'd suggest that you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney. Thank you, Mr. Day. Thank you. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade and you.
Buenas noches, soy la juez Che. ¿Cómo se llama usted?
Ricardo Moreno Dwarte.
Ricardo Moreno Dwarte.
I don't have an indication that he needs an interpreter.
Oh. ¿Usted necesita intérprete?
Sí.
He said that he does.
Mr. Dwarte Marino, I have a warrant here charging you with four counts of transportation for sale of a narcotic drug.
Muy bien, aquí tengo entablados 4 cargos de, de transportar con fines de venta estupefacientes.
3 counts of money laundering
3 cargos de lavado de dinero
and 1 count of conspiracy.
y un cargo de confabulación.
As well as 1 count of illegally conducting an enterprise.
Y también un cargo de realizar una empresa ilícita.
The charges don't match up with what's on the paperwork. Yeah, there's an additional charge. 13-1003. Okay. Oh, are you gonna do this again to me tonight? No, it's. Look, the PTS cover sheet shows all of them. We didn't give a booking sheet. That's the problem. There is no booking sheet on the pretrial services report. Yeah, anyway, I'll let you fix it later. We'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you on these charges.
Vamos a asignar la defensoría de oficio para representarlo en estos cargos.
Set an arraignment date of April the 23rd at 1:30.
Voy a fijar una audiencia para la instrucción de cargos del día 23 de abril a la 1:30.
And I would also note that these are alleged to have occurred between February the 5th and March the 26th of this year.
Y también quisiera comentarle que supuestamente sucedieron dichos actos entre las fechas del 5 de febrero hasta el 26 de marzo del año en curso.
Did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Quisiera comentar los licenciados sobre las condiciones.
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
No, su señoría.
Your Honor, given that Mr. Dwarte Moreno has an ICE hold, we ask for a nominal bond or a lower bond to be set in this case.
Bueno, su señoría, dado a que el señor Duarte Moreno tiene una orden de retención por parte de migración, yo pediría que usted imponga una fianza nominal, una cantidad baja.
All right, bond will be $75,000. If you post the bond, it'll be an intrusion of pretrial services. But again, there is an immigration hold.
Muy bien, voy a poner una fianza de $75,000 y si logra depositar la fianza va a quedar bajo la vigilancia de servicios previos al juicio, pero reitero que existe una orden de retención por parte de migración.
You possess no alcohol or illegal drugs.
No puede poseer nada de alcohol ni tampoco droga ilícita.
And you're not to have contact with any potential co-defendants.
Y no se le permite tener comunicación ni contacto con los coacusados.
All right, thank you.
Gracias.
Okay, now you can say that, we watched it. That clock indicates over, it's like. Great. Mr. Meter, is not going to stand up.
What happened to Foster?
I'll just.
Jail, what happened to Foster?
Please. He's. Honor.
And if you look at Judge Canaster's order from this morning, it says that he needs to be brought by all reasonable means necessary, including force, unless refusing due to medical issues.
We were not informed about that, Your Honor.
On the conditions of release, I will continue it again, but he needs to be brought tomorrow morning.
Harwood.
All right, I'm going to address everyone in the courtroom, and I believe there should be 5 people in the courtroom at this point, all on misdemeanor matters. I'm Judge Shayat. This is the time set for initial appearances. Arraignments on these matters, it's the time for me to formally advise you of the charges against you, to set conditions of release in your next court date. It is not the time to talk about facts of these cases or ask that charges be dismissed. Conditions of release will always include that you violate no laws, that you appear at all court dates. If any of your matters are class 1 misdemeanor, include that you remain within the state of Arizona unless you receive permission of the court to leave the state. If you have things in multiple jurisdictions, you will have multiple court dates. And I'll discuss those with you as they come up. And you are,
Miranda Barick.
Ms. Barwick, citation charging you with domestic violence assault alleged occurred earlier today. Your next court date on this matter will be April the 28th at 10:30 in the morning. You'll be released on your signature and promise to appear. In addition to the standard conditions, no acts of domestic violence, and you need to start the process of obtaining behavioral health assessment and any recommended treatment. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Barwick.
Have a seat up there between those. Flashio.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are
Ms. House Toronto.
Ms. Toronto. I have a number of things here for you.
Okay.
Biggest issue appears to be appearing in court. I have charges here that go back to 2023 for shoplifting on February the 25th, failing to appear in court. Shoplifting and criminal trespass, January 20th of this year, failing to appear in court. Bond on the 2023 case will be $100 cash. If you post the bond, or if you don't, your court date will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You're not to return to the incident location. Daniel Dennis is appointed to represent you. There's one you need to close. The second Toronto file, please. And that will cover both of your matters. That's both of your justice court matters. I also have 6 files out of Tucson City Court. Most recent criminal trespass on March the 23rd, failing to appear on April the 3rd. Charges from March the 4th. Criminal trespass. 1001 East Palmdale, failing to appear on March the 17th. Charges for shoplifting and possession of paraphernalia, April 20th of 2023. Along with failing to appear on March the 5th of 2023. Charges for criminal trespass on June 4th of 2024. Failing to appear on June 17th. And criminal trespass and possession of paraphernalia on September 24th, 2024, failing to appear on October the 7th. We'll appoint City Public Defender's Office to represent you on these charges. If you post the bond, it's $250 on this matter. Your court date will be May the 16th at 9 o'clock in the morning. If you're still in custody, you'll be seen on video on April the 25th. You're not to go back to any of the incident locations, possess any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to go back to 3541 East Broadway, 1025 East Ajo, or 1001 East Palmdale. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Right? Thank you, Mr. Otto.
Toronto. One, two, three. That's it. Ready.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are?
Andres. Andrew.
Mr. Maddick, got a citation charging you with violation of a court order by returning to 1330 South Homeview Lane. What can I do to be sure you don't go back there?
I was explaining things like so differently. I had a restraining order against the other party as well. My documentation, like with specificity, verbatim, like it's garbage right now.
Well, if that order hasn't been served on the other person, it doesn't go into effect. It's not in effect. And if it's been served, then the first one that was served is the one that's in effect. And if there's a dispute, you can request hearings, but you can't go back there. So is that something you think you can comply with, or do we need to look at other measures?
I was trying to leave. I really only want my belongings back, and that's
According to the report, you came to get the, but then you refused to leave.
the report is not correct. Actually, I've been like staying there, like living there, with permission of the person who made that.
Doesn't matter. If there's a court order, it's a court order.
That was not very sweet. But that was enforced without me. You're in a pretty desperate situation where I don't have like people to depend on in the city family.
I can't make those, I can't change those. I can direct you to resources, but I can't change those things. But you cannot go back there. You can go back once with law enforcement to get your personal belongings. But that's it.
But in regards to the refusal, I did not refuse to leave.
We're not arguing fact right now. We're not talking about fact of the case. I'm telling you what's going to happen going forward. If you can comply with that, fine. If you can't, then I'm going to require you to post a bond.
I can comply with the requirements of what you're asking.
Your next court date will be May the 15th at 2 o'clock in Tucson City Court in front of Judge Cranshaw. You're not to have contact with the victim. You are not to go back to 1330 South Homeview Lane except once with law enforcement to get your personal belongings. Do you understand that?
I do understand.
Okay. Now, when you exit the jail, there'll be a blue line on the sidewalk. It'll direct you to a place called the Transition Center. They can help you with perhaps temporary housing or other issues. Direct you to agencies. Okay. Also, on Friday afternoons, between 1 and 3, I think it is, at Tucson City Court, which is where you'll have to come to court for this anyway. We have a community court, which has lots of agencies with resources. You don't have to anything scheduled. You can just show up there. You get some help that way as well. All right. Thank you, Mr. Maddick.
Thinking. They go back up with it.
On.
Not that look.
Good evening, and you are
Brittany Pond.
Pont. I have new charges here charging you with domestic violence, disorderly conduct, domestic violence, criminal damage alleged to have occurred earlier today. However, I also have previous orders here, charges from December the 9th for domestic violence assault, domestic violence disorderly conduct, domestic violence endangerment, and theft, along with previous court orders telling you not to have contact with Ms. Watson and not to go to her residence. We're going to reappoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you on these charges. Your next court date is going to be April the 23rd at 1:30. Bond is $1,000 cash. If you post the bond, you need to appear. If you haven't posted the bond, you'll be seen on video. Again, no contact with Ms. Watson. You don't go to her residence. Other than in the course of the behavioral health assessment and treatment, I'd suggest you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney. And I'm also requesting that you obtain a behavioral health assessment. Thank you.
Walker.
Good evening, and you, sir, are
My name is Darian Walker.
Mr. Watkins, citation here charging you with domestic violence assault. Alleged occurred earlier today. Your next court date in this matters is going to be May the 13th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Be released on your signature and promise to appear. No alcohol or illegal drugs. No acts of domestic violence. No firearms or weapons. How many firearms do you have, sir?
I have one at the moment, ma'am.
I'm going to surrender that to Tucson Police Department within 48 hours of your release. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
No contact with Hannah Soto except with regard to your mutual child or through superior court order. And you also need to obtain a substance abuse assessment and begin any recommended treatment. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Douglas.
Your Honor, we'd like to waive reading of the charges for Mr. Douglas.
Okay. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
The state would just ask that the defendant not be able to be around minors and that he not be able to possess a firearm, return to the incident location or to consume alcohol, and no contact with any alleged victims in this matter.
Anything from defense counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Douglas is only 20 years old. He has no priors. He has no failures to appear. Housing apart from minors has been confirmed by pretrial services. He is a lifelong Tucson resident and he is employed. We'd ask for release of pretrial services, or if you're not inclined, then a much lower bond.
Preliminary hearing date's April 28th at 1:30. Bond is $35,000. The bond is posted. You'll be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services. No alcohol, no drugs, no firearms or weapons. Beginning right this moment, you have no contact with the alleged victims or any minors, and you don't use the internet or any social media. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'd suggest you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney. Thank you, Mr. Douglas. Good evening, I'm Judge Fayed, and you are
Ana Soto.
Ms. Soto. Citation charging you with domestic violence criminal damage alleged to have occurred earlier today. Your next question in this matter is going to be May the 13th at 1:30 in the afternoon in the Tucson City Court. You'll be released on your signature and promise to appear.
Okay.
Conditions are no contact with Mr. Walker, except with regard to your mutual child or through superior court order. You don't go to his residence. You can go back there once with law enforcement to get your any personal belongings. You also need to comply with your probation. You were supposed to provide proof of domestic violence counseling sessions by yesterday. in a case from 2024, an issue with your sister. You need to get up to speed on that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Hold on just a minute. You also need to look into any behavioral health assessment and any recommended treatment. Do you understand that?
Okay. Just to make sure I understood, you said behavioral health
Assessment.
treatment, assessment and treatment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Stoodto.
Thank you.
And jail and field check with regard to whether or not any of the remaining felony defense need an interpreter. Thank you.
Brother, could you play, talk, Dwarte, Flores, Frasier? Frasier. Garvido. Everybody in the city morning. Hey, Mark, sir, come up the right, got board. Around the Saturday. Make it quick. Seven. All the way to the side. Batter. Miles. Off. Just sit out, she's good to the. So it's part. Part. Part new stage. Scores up. Scores up. Oh, it's so big. Oh, it's like that is. No, they just basically compute the back. That's so.
Clay.
Good evening, I'm Judge Fayette, and you, sir, are
Zachary Clay.
Mr. Clay. I have a warrant here out of Graham County. Possession of narcotic drugs, as well as misdemeanor charges for driving under the influence of intoxicating liquor, drugs, and drugs or metabolites.
I know. Try to see.
I'll reduce the bond on this warrant to $5,000. I suspect Graham County will come pick you up. If they don't, there'll be a review hearing on May the 16th. No alcohol and legal drugs. You don't drive without a valid license. Substance abuse and behavioral health assessment and recommended treatment. If you post the bond, you'll be in a certificate of pretrial service, and you'll need to contact Graham County Superior Court immediately to get a court date. All right, thank you.
Back out the mail. All the way back up.
Lama. Office is open. Okay. Okay. And jail, have you checked with the remaining defendants? Do we have any people who need an interpreter?
No, Your Honor.
So you have checked and we do not, correct?
Yes, we don't need an interpreter, my bad.
All right, Mr. Coleman, Mr. Babb, you may be excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are?
Tyler, good evening. Tyler Cox.
Mr. Cox. I have a warrant here charging you with misconduct involving weapons alleged to have occurred on or about the 5th of February.
I don't know. I went to prison and they said they dismissed all the charges. I don't know. Mhm.
Oh, they refiled the charges and you didn't appear. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Set an arraignment date of April the 23rd at 1:30, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
So
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Mr. Cox has no failures to appear in the last 2 years. It appears that he was unaware of his previous case because it was dismissed, so he didn't realize it would be refiled. He is a lifelong Tucson resident, and his mother stated that she would be willing to take third-party custody of Mr. Cox and ensure his future court appearances. So we'd ask for pretrial services release.
Anything further from the state? You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Oh, my apologies. Can you hear me now?
You're still vibrating, shaking.
Okay. Well, nothing from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
No failures to appear in the last 2 years because he was sort of occupied, shall we say. Bond will remain at $2,500. No firearms or weapons, no firearms in residence or vehicles. Thank you, Mr. Cox.
Go sit out there. Oh.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shea, and you are
All right, Dwarte.
Ms. Dwarte. Interim complaint charging with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and discharging a firearm in the city limits. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor, outside of the recommendation.
Your Honor, Ms. Dwarte is only 18 years old. She has no priors. She has no failures to appear. She's lived in Tucson her whole life. She is employed, and her mother expressed that she'd be willing to take third-party custody to ensure future court appearances. So we'd ask for release of pretrial services.
Preliminary hearing date is going to be May the 6th. at 1:30. You're going to be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services under some pretty strict conditions.
I understand, ma'am.
No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. You have any other firearms, they need to be surrendered to Tucson Police Department within the next 48 hours.
Understand,
You
ma'am.
have no contact with the alleged victims or any witnesses except through legal counsel. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't go back to the incident location.
Heard.
There's to be no firearms in any residences you're in or any vehicles you're in. There to be no firearms in your presence. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
You also need to engage in behavioral health and substance abuse assessment treatment under the supervision of pretrial services. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Dwarte.
Please.
And his adult probation placed to hold. Jail.
No, Your Honor.
Is there a reason the PH dates are different on this than on other ones? Mr. Flores? Yeah.
Yes.
No, should be the 28th and the 6th. Okay. Okay. Thought I would double check. All right, Mr. Flores, I have an interim complaint charging you with shoplifting. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and does either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
No, Your Honor. Nothing from the state.
Anything further from defense?
Your Honor, we'd ask for release of pretrial services. Mr. Flores has no prior failures to appear.
That's the state's recommendation with pretrial.
Okay, so then we have nothing further to add.
Preliminary hearing date will be May the 6th at 1:30. You'll be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs. You don't drive without a valid license. You don't go to the incident locations or any Lowe's stores or any place that plants are sold. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
You also need to contact your probation officer tomorrow.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'd suggest you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney. Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Fraser.
Good.
Good evening. I'm just chatting you, sir.
Julian Fraser.
Mr. Fraser, I've got several things here for you. I have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court. Possession of narcotic drugs, possession of paraphernalia. Alleged occurred on or about the 5th of June of 2022. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you, set an arraignment date of April 23rd at 1:30, and at either case to be heard on conditions. Hearing nothing because of the new charges. And it makes no sense to release him on one charge and hold him on another. Bond on this matter will be $1,000. Pretrial services if you post the bond, no alcohol or illegal drugs. Then we have new charges. 3 counts of theft of means of transportation, 3 counts of burglary, as well as possession of narcotic drugs. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on this as well, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions? Hearing nothing, bond on this will be $1,500 with a preliminary hearing date of April the 28th. If you post the bond, it'll be distributed to pretrial services. You don't go back to the incident locations or have any contact with alleged victims. And again, no alcohol or illegal drugs. I have 2 warrants out of Marino. Charges from June of 2018 for shoplifting, assault, disorderly conduct. Charges from October 17th of 2019 for shoplifting, false reporting to law enforcement. Looks like you had a court date in 2022 that you didn't appear at. We'll appoint Janet Altfuller to represent you on these. Bond is $250. You're not to return to the incident locations, no alcohol or illegal drugs. And your court date will be tomorrow at about noon. Thank you, Mr. Fraser.
Go sit outside.
Public defender, the bond is 2,500.
James?
So, you're off.
Good evening. I'm gonna say that you are
Enrique Garvido.
Mr. Garvido. Animal complaint charging you with trafficking and stolen property and burglary in the second degree. Alleged to have occurred on or about the 7th of April. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges that either counsel wish to be heard on condition.
I had meant to put a $7,500 bond, but, and other than that correction, that, nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Mr. Garvido is a lifelong Tucson resident. He is employed, and his cousin indicated that he'd be willing to take third-party custody of him. This is a nonviolent offense. We'd ask for release to pretrial services.
Ruling hearing date April the 28th at 1:30. Bond is $2,500. If you post the bond, then you'll be in a suite of pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no contact with the alleged victims or any potential co-defendants. You're not to return to the incident location. Substance abuse and behavioral health assessment and treatment is available while in custody, which if you are on release. Other than of course, those assessments, I'd suggest you not discuss these matters with anyone except your attorney. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
David. Oh,
Second.
yes.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are.
That's what you.
I have a number of things here for you. I have an interim complaint charging you with possession of dangerous drugs for sale, possession of paraphernalia, and possession of narcotics for sale. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. And did either counsel wish to be heard further on conditions?
No, thank you. Not from, excuse me. Nothing from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your Honor, this was a non-violent offense and Mr. Ivanku is employed. We'd ask for release to pretrial services.
Yeah.
Preliminary hearing date will be April 28th at 1:30. Bond is $5,000. If you post the bond, you'll be distributed to pretrial services. You're not to return within 3 blocks of the incident location. You obtain substance abuse and behavioral health assessments and follow through with any recommended treatment to the extent it's available while you're in custody, or if you're out of custody, then under the supervision and direction of pretrial services. Other than the course of such assessments, I would suggest that you not discuss those matters with anyone except your attorney. And I also have a number of warrants for you. Charges out of Pima County Justice Court, resisting arrest, failing to provide truthful name, failing to appear. These are alleged to have occurred, looks like July 23rd of 2024, and then failing to appear in August of 2024.
Read.
No. On these misdemeanor matters, your court date's April 28th at 8:30. You will be released on these matters. Conditions again being no alcohol or illegal drugs. Almost. Put the dates on the box on the misdemeanor. On that. Then I have warrants out of Tucson City Court. Shoplifting on September 22nd of 2024. Failing to appear on October 3rd of 2024.
Next quick, please.
Also charges from June 22nd of 2024 for theft, possession of paraphernalia, failing to print on October 5th of 2024. Will be released on these charges, although I will appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you since you're being held on felony matters. Next court date will be June the 6th at 9 o'clock in the morning. You're not to return to 4500 North Oracle or 7250 East Broadway. And again, no alcohol, illegal drugs, and behavioral health and substance abuse assessment and treatment. All right. Thank you.
Matters. She's there.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Joshua Matter.
Mr. Mattern in a complaint charging you with aggravated assault. Ms. Ferguson, you are representing him only for today, so I still need to appoint for future court dates, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, at this point in time.
All right, we'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you beginning after this proceeding is concluded.
Thank you.
Anything further from the state or from Ms. Ferguson prior to about conditions of release?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to bring up a few things. In regards to the alleged incident, what I will say is that there was no use of the firearm, in that there was no shooting, there was no hitting, there was no use except as a defensive display when the other person was coming towards him. I'd ask that Your Honor take that into consideration. In addition, Mr. Mattern is a very productive member of society. He has longstanding ties to the community. Not only has he been in Tucson for the last 20 years, his father lives here. He is a business owner of at least the last 5 years, maybe 6, I believe. So not only is he himself gainfully employed, he is responsible for the gainful employment of others. And not only does he have obligations to his customers, he has longstanding jobs that are already in place, but he has work crews that he wants to continue to provide for by employing them. In addition, Your Honor, I would point out that his single piece of criminal history that I saw is 7 years ago, and that actually shows it demonstrated, it demonstrates that he has he has followed the orders of the court. He has been compliant on pretrial services. He was compliant on probation to the point where his probation was discharged, and he got them designated misdemeanors. A few other points that I would like to point out. The prosecutor indicated and the pretrial services indicated that there was a failure to appear older than 2 years. Nothing in my pretrial services report indicated what that was from. So I have a hard time rebutting that because I don't have any information about that. And in addition, I don't believe that he is a continuing risk to the alleged victim. My understanding is that this was a stranger, and that this came about as a defensive display during some sort of traffic incident. And that leads to another point that I would like to bring up. I would ask that Your Honor not impose a condition to not return to the incident location, as my understanding is that the incident location is an intersection in the middle of town, which is very close to where Mr. Mattern has a current job site. He was actually at the job site when he was arrested on this charge. So I'd ask that that not be imposed. As I said, as the alleged victim is a stranger, he does not pose any continuing risk. So I ask that Your Honor take that into consideration. If Your Honor, so we would ask that he be released to pretrial services based off of his demonstrated history of compliance with court orders, the fact that he is not a continuing risk to the alleged victim, his longstanding ties to the community, and obligations, his full-time employment and the employment of others. He also currently, my understanding is, has a previous obligation in Seattle. His father informed me that he has a job in Seattle that he was already planning to go to this Saturday. So if Your Honor does release him, I would ask that you allow him to travel to Seattle during the pendency of this case so that he can complete the job that he already had in place in Seattle. If Your Honor is not so inclined to release to pretrial services, I would ask for a much lower bond than $25,000. He has no prior violent history. My understanding is that if there were any other firearms in the residence, his father has removed them. So that does not remain any issue. So we would ask for release to pretrial services. If Your Honor is not so inclined, I'd ask for a bond of no more than $2,000.
Anything further from the state?
Your Honor, I would just respond with that the randomness of this crime makes the defendant slightly dangerous. There was no real rhyme or reason outside of a traffic offense to this crime if that he's alleged to have completed. So the state would ask that the bond remain $25,000.
And I can respond to that if Your Honor would let me.
There's no need to respond to facts of the case. My concern slightly is that employment indicates an employment address in Naples, Florida.
That's not correct.
That's what the booking sheet says. And I know those are not always.
I believe that was from 7-8 years ago. I've been back in Tucson for 5 years. I mean, I lived here, but.
All right. I'm going to release you to the third party custody pretrial services under some conditions. Preliminary hearing dates May the 6th at 1:30. No firearms or weapons. Surrender any firearms to Tucson police by tomorrow. There's to be no firearms in your residence or vehicles. You are not to leave the state of Arizona. Do you understand that?
Yes, I did.
Right, and no contact with the alleged victim. I'd suggest you don't discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. As that was the only matter I was here on, may I please be excused?
You may.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, I'm Judge Fade, and you are
Lemos.
Ms. Miles. I have an interim complaint charging you with armed robbery, possession of paraphernalia, possession of narcotic drug alleged to have occurred on or about the 31st day of March. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions? And we need,
Nothing outside of the recommendation, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your Honor, Ms. Miles has been in Tucson for her whole life. We'd ask for release or pretrial services.
please be patient. I'm having an issue with pretrial services program. There are times when I have to log out and log back in before I can open a report. Preliminary hearing date is going to be April the 28th at 1:30. Bond will be set at $5,000. If the bond is posted, Ms. Miles will be released to pretrial services. No alcohol, illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, including box cutters. No contact with those victims, no returning to the incident location. Thank you, Ms. Miles.
Nani?
Good evening, I'm Judge Shayed, and you are
Nani.
Ms. Nani. Interim complaint charging with arson of an occupied structure. We'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard further on conditions?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your Honor, Ms. Nani has no prior criminal history. She has no prior failures to appear, and there appears to have been no injuries in this incident. So we'd ask for release to pretrial services.
Preliminary hearing date is going to be April the 28th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Bond will be $7,500. If the bond is posted, then you'll be able to release under the Division of Pretrial Services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no matches, lighters, or other incendiary devices. A behavioral health assessment and recommended treatment as available in custody or under the direction of and supervision of pretrial services if you're out of custody. You're not to return to the incident location, that entire complex, except once with a law enforcement officer to obtain any personal belongings that may still be there and not destroyed. And other than the course of an assessment, I would suggest you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney. Right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shane, and you, sir, are
Michael Barza.
Mr. Orozco. Interim complaint charging possession of dangerous drug. Alleged occurred earlier today. We'll appoint legal defender's office to represent you on these charges. It does appear that you may be eligible to participate in a program known as STEPS that could result in a dismissal of these charges without their being formally charged. Are you interested in exploring
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
All right. Now, counsel, he does have a probation violation warrant, so he's not getting out of custody.
Yes, Your Honor, we'd ask for nominal bond to be set, given the probation hold.
We'll set a $500 bond. Preliminary hearing date of April 28th, but a STEPS hearing on April the 23rd at 9. No alcohol or illegal drugs. We also have a warrant out of Tucson City Court. Charges from August 9th of 2024. Criminal trespass, possession of paraphernalia, possession of prescription-only drugs. We'll appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you on these charges. Release you on these charges on the conditions of no alcohol or illegal drugs. You don't go back to train tracks. Stay off and away of the train from the train tracks. And review hearing on this will be June the 6th at 9. If you're out of custody, you need to appear. If you're still in custody, then Public Defender's Office will discuss it with the prosecutors and go from there. Right, thank you.
Morning.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir,
Shea Parton, Your Honor.
are Mr. Parton, in a complaint charging possession of dangerous drugs, possession of paraphernalia. We will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and that either counsel wish to be heard on conditions.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Your Honor, given that there appears to be a DOC hold, we'd ask for a nominal bond to be set on these charges.
Okay, it appears that you may be eligible to participate in a program called STEPS. It's basically a diversionary program. You'll have a STEP hearing on April 23rd at 9. Bond will be $500. You'll be a distributor of pretrial services if you post the bond. Preliminary hearing date will leave it April the 28th because of the DOC hold. It looks like he doesn't have much time on the felony sentence, so I don't know that they'll even try and transport him.
Also, might even go. From that. Of my county posted.
Your Honor, is Mr. Parton excused?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. This is my. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are
Mason Roose, ma'am.
Mr. Roose. In complaint charging possession of narcotic drug for sale, possession of dangerous drug for sale, possession of dangerous drug, possession of paraphernalia. Alleged to have occurred earlier today. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. And has adult probation placed a hold?
Doesn't appear that there's hold on pretrial services.
They'll sometimes show up afterwards, which is why I asked. Did either council wish to be heard on conditions?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Mr. Roose is employed full-time. He's lived 10 years in Tucson, and his mother indicated that she'd be willing to assume third-party custody of him. And this was a non-violent offense. We asked for release to pretrial services.
Preliminary hearing date is April 28th at 1:30. Bond is $10,000. If you post the bond, you'll be subject to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no act of domestic violence, no contact with the alleged victim. You'll go to the incident location. Behavioral health and substance abuse assessment and treatment is available in custody or under the supervision of pretrial services if you are out of custody. Other than the course of those assessments, I'd suggest you not discuss those matters with anyone except your attorney. You also need to contact your probation officer immediately. I also have a citation charging you with domestic violence disorderly conduct alleged to have occurred earlier today.
Man, I have a dog at home that I don't have any family here to help take care of. Is there any way, ma'am, that you can I just saw my probation officer yesterday. I'm in good standings with her. I just made a terrible mistake. I was driving with the wrong people, and I just made a bad mistake, ma'am. Can you please help me? I've always, anytime I've been in trouble, I've done pretrial services correctly. I've done my probation correctly. I'm getting ready to get off.
Except that you are alleged to have been in the possession of numerous M30 pills, Xanax bars, methamphetamine.
I was just riding with the wrong people, ma'am. And please, ma'am,
There's no indication that there was anybody else in the car.
they let them walk. Please, I've always done pretrial services correctly. I will be here. I will do things the right way. I need to get my dog inside. Please, ma'am, if you can please just help me. I promise you I will be the best citizen that I possibly can be. I'm just asking for this one chance. Please, Your Honor.
I've made my decision.
So
I also have charges charging you with it, as I said, with domestic violence disorderly conduct. I'll release you on these matters with the court date of April the 23rd at 1:30. You're not going to be can of strong, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence. You're not to go to her residence.
Ish.
Right? Thank you, Mr. Roos.
Any way we can lower the bond at all? To like 5,000, please?
I've set the matter.
Okay.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Carlos.
Mr. Soto. If an interim complaint charging with possession of narcotic drugs and also misdemeanor charges of domestic violence violation of a court order on domestic violence criminal trespass. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and either counsel wish to be heard on conditions.
Yes, Your Honor. At the time of filling out this recommendation, my assumption was that the domestic violence relationship was that of a romantic relationship, but after reading the interim complaint, that was corrected. And it is noted that that relationship is between his father. That being said, the state would ask to reduce the bond recommendation to $5,000 instead of the $50,000, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Mr. Soto, this was a non-violent offense. So it's a drug charge. It appears he is steps eligible, and he has been in Tucson for 37 years. We'd ask for release to pretrial services.
And if all we were doing was the drug charge, I would agree with you. However, we have him on probation on 2 domestic violence charges, and he's charged with violating the conditions.
There's no risk in this one.
So for that reason, I'm going to set a bond of $5,000. You have absolutely no contact with your father. You're not to go anywhere near his residence. Do you understand that?
But man, where I had the trespass is a company that I am part owner as well as my
No,
father's.
If,
So
if it-
there's a conflict of interest where I'm never allowed present and he is.
it is on the order of protection, then you can contest the order, but you cannot go there as long as that order is in effect. Steps hearing will be April 23rd at 9. Preliminary hearing date, April 28th at 1:30. Bond is $5,000. Pretrial services if you post the bond.
Why is it a $5,000 bond this time? Last time there wasn't one for that.
Because this is the third time.
This is a second violation of court order, but not a DV. There was no DV in this. It was a trespassing.
The fact that the relationship between you and your father is one of,
But
that's what makes it domestic violence. And it's also a violation of the court order, which adds another
there
element.
wasn't. My father invited me onto the property.
All right, are we good, Alma? You said, are we good?